Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and this is your Sheffield United versus Manchester United preview. Sunday 4:30 kick-off, and it's the first time we are travelling to Bramall Lane in 13 years. So just going to give you some team news on this current video and that. Obviously, we have got some players coming back from injury. Also, I will be giving you some. I will be giving you more of an update tomorrow after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference reaction. I'm obviously going to interpret some of the stuff he does currently mention, but we will know more tomorrow. So as Solskjaer did currently confirm, he did say that obviously Tuanzebe, Luke Shaw and Nemanja Matic are all expected back for the game on Sunday. Well, it has confirmed they have returned to first team training. Obviously Matic has been out over minor problem. Luke Shaw has been out over hamstring injury. He hasn't played since the 2-1 home defeat to Crystal Palace. So Luke Shaw's been out of injury for around 3 months. And Alex Tuanzebe has been out over hip injury. And the last game he did play was the 1-0 defeat to Newcastle. So they are all expected to be back. I've got some news regarding Eric Bailly and Diego Dalot, and it is actually some positive news. Eric Bailly has returned to training this week. I don't think he's expected to be involved in the game on Sunday, but I think now he's closer to getting back into the team. Also, Diego Dalot he returned to training with Eric Bailly, but both players trained away from the rest of the squad. So they're both now closer to recovering from injury. Scott McTominay, will not be playing on Sunday against Sheffield United. Don't forget, as I updated you, and I've been updating you on a regular basis recently regarding McTominay, he has got an ankle injury that initially sustained in the 3-0 win against Partizan Belgrade. Obviously did play the game against Brighton, but obviously came off with this ankle injury. So McTominay obviously during the international break had to withdraw from the Scotland squad. He's had initial scans on his ankle, obviously to find the extent of the injury, and his injury is quite severe, and I think has been assured that McTominay will be missing the games against Man City and Tottenham next month. So he's going to be a big miss in that midfield, but obviously with the return of Matic, he's going to fulfill McTominay's absence and that. But yeah, he's going to be a big miss because I think, analysing McTominay's performances this season, he's been absolutely fantastic. He has actually been a revelation, to be quite honest with you. Like I said, I've got element of concerns of him being a long-term solution for Man United, and these question marks around him, can he keep the consistency up? But to be fair, McTominay has done really, really well. Obviously, Paul Pogba will definitely not be playing on Sunday. I'm very, very sceptical about him playing it. Very sceptical about him playing on Sunday or for the rest of this month, because Solskjaer did confirm he's not expected back until December. Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba has had an ongoing ankle injury for a matter of weeks, so Paul Pogba has missed the vast majority of our games this season, and the last league game he did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal earlier on in the season. But obviously, as I updated you last week, Paul Pogba, don't forget, did travel to Amsterdam to have his ankle cast removed. So that just indicates how he's closer to recovering. But, he should be back for the City game and the Tottenham game, which is obviously very, very good news and that. I did give you the news, didn't I, regarding Paul Pogba earlier on. Obviously, Paul Pogba is still desperate to quit Manchester United, so he has still got the same perception. He has still got the same perception, than what I had during the course of the summer. Because for the entirety of the summer transfer window, Paul Pogba wanted to leave Manchester United. He did reveal this anyway at the beginning of the summer. He wanted to leave. He publicly admitted that he wanted to leave because obviously he wanted to rejuvenate his career and he wanted to seek a new challenge. Obviously, there was a few clubs in for him during the summer, but his actual preference, was Real Madrid. But Real Madrid, of course, were relentlessly, linked to him. And I did say that his move to Real Madrid didn't materialise. reflecting on the substantial amount we put on Pogba, because we was demanding that we wanted around 180 million. Real Madrid were reluctant to pay that. But I think now Paul Pogba's recently come out and said that his preference, would be a return back to Turin, because he initially did enjoy 4 good years with Juventus. The vast majority of his performances at Man United have been in comparison to what we saw when he was at Juventus. But Paul Pogba's now into his 4th season as a Manchester United player since he rejoined from Juventus back in 2016. But yeah, I had the feeling, that he still wants to leave the football club next year. If we do get rid of him, obviously, we'll generate a substantial amount for his departure. But even though he's been mainly inconsistent in Man United, he is, still a very, very imperative player. He is still 26 years of age, so you can still quite frankly say he is in his prime. And, we mainly saw the best of Paul Pogba in that 3-month period when Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was the interim manager. He was in absolutely scintillating form. But, he has still got 2 years left on his contract term at Manchester United, don't forget, with an option to extend it by a further year. And he's on 290 grand a week, so in that aspect, he is one of the highest paid players at the football club. But yeah, I think he will leave next year. But regardless of whether Paul Pogba stays or goes, I still believe he wants... I still believe, that, we do need to address that midfield. But to be fair, I think Fred's fulfilled his position really, really well anywhere, especially recently. Solskjaer did confirm anywhere that Fred will take Paul Pogba's position for a while and that. And Fred has been a revelation recently, to be quite honest with you. He's had quite a few bad games this season. I think he's totally comparison to McTominay and that, because I think they are 2 different players. But recently, obviously before McTominay recurred his injury, I thought they complemented each other fantastically well. And Fred does believe from his own perception that Solskjaer's backing is behind his improved form. And I will agree on the aspects that obviously, Fred, Man United did overpay for Fred, because was it £50 million we paid for him last summer from Shakhtar Donetsk, or was it just under £50 million? But like I said, he hasn't performed to the standards as we should expect of him, and he hasn't replicated at Man United, what he did do with Shakhtar Donetsk. But analysing him at Shakhtar Donetsk, he was an exceptional player. I do believe in this game against Sheffield United as well. Solskjaer, will probably stick with a 4-2-3-1 formation, because for the vast majority of this season, Solskjaer has been going with that 4-2-3-1 formation. Obviously, he's tried a few different formations out, a couple of times he's gone, with a 3-4-1-2, is it, or the 3-5-2 and that. And the other occasion he's gone with a 4-3-3, but mainly gone with that 4-2-3-1 formation and that. But yeah, like I mentioned, we have rejuvenated ourselves recently anyway. We have been in a good run of form. We've won 5 of our last 6 games in all competitions. This was obviously, before the international break. But I did say recently, I have seen a variety of changes in that. I think, certain players have stepped up to the plate. Certain players have stepped up to the plate. I think the performances have improved. Recently we've seen to be creating more chances, and that's obviously been an element of concern this season. Because for the vast majority of the games this season, we have been struggling to create chances and that. And this is probably, like I do keep saying, the explanation why we haven't been scoring enough goals and that. But recently, we've justified that problem, and we've seen to be very, very clinical. Recently. Very, very, clinical. We've also, showed them a lot of tactical flexibility. Recently, we've seen them score more goals. But, I think the players, that have done really, really well recently, like I mentioned, Rashford, has rejuvenated himself. He's scored, I think, 8 goals in his last 8 games for club and country. As Marcus Rashford and that. And Marcus Rashford has scored 54 goals now for Manchester United. Since he broke into the senior squad back in 2016 and that. And, Rashford's doing really, really well now, and he is performing to the standards anywhere now, as we should expect him. Obviously, for the vast majority of this season, we know he hasn't, but I still believe that Rashford is a very imperative player for Manchester United. But recently has done really, really well. I think Anthony Martial, since he recovered from injury, you can say he's added more inspiration in that attacking third in the pitch. Obviously, some aspects of Martial do replicate Rashford because obviously they can both play in the same positions. They are. They've more or less nearly scored the same amount of goals. Rashford's on 54, Martial is on 53 in that. But Martial, even though he predominantly plays out wide on the left, he's better in that number 9, so you can take that into account because he seems to be more effective in that number 9 position. There's Martial. Daniel James, like I mentioned, I think, he's enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. And you can say he's been a surprise solution, as Daniel James, because I said, when we signed Daniel James during the summer, I didn't expect him to play the game to the extent as he has done. I didn't expect him, to perform to the standards as we expected, straight away. But he has done this as Daniel James, so he has been a surprise solution. Don't get me wrong, he's still a prospect and he needs time to develop and that. But if he can continue this consistency up, his valuation will persistently grow. I think Daniel James this season has played around 16 games for Man United, so. He's also, done really, really well. And Wan-Bissaka has also, done really, really well. And a lot of people believe, that Wan-Bissaka has been our most consistent signing. And I think he can be our right back for the next decade. Harry Maguire, you can say, has addressed our defensive deficiencies. Don't get me wrong, I do agree on the aspect, that Man United overpaid for Harry Maguire. Paid, was it 70 million up front with 10 million in add-ons, which did potentially, rise it to around 80 million pounds. But Lindelof and him, have complemented each other fantastically well in our back line. So yeah, players. All of the 3 players we brought in during the summer anyway have done really, really well. But I think recently players have really, really improved. Don't get me wrong, there's still some aspects of our game, that we do need to improve on. But at the moment, obviously, we are sitting 7th in the league. We're 12 games into the Premier League season so far. We've won 4, we've drawn 4, and we've lost 4. So we've only registered 16 points, 16 points for a possible 36, and we're still that's nowhere near good enough to our standards. But Sheffield United, we're coming up against a difficult opposition on Sunday because to be fair, Sheffield United have been a revelation this season. They're sitting 1 point ahead of us at the moment in the league. They're sitting 5th, our Sheffield United, and they've had some good, decent results this season. They was unlucky not to get out off Liverpool. Liverpool only won 1-0. They did beat Arsenal by 1 goal to 0. So hats off, to Sheffield United. And, like I said, I've got to praise Chris Wilder. I think, he has done a really good job with Sheffield United. He's now, I think, into his 4th season with Sheffield United. Is Chris Wilder. He's into his 4th season with them. He joined them in 2016, so basically he's progressed them from League 1 to 5th in the Premier League. So you've got to admire, what Chris Wilder has done, and quite a few people believe that he would be the right candidate to replace Solskjaer at Man United. Also, some people believe he would have been the right candidate at Arsenal to replace Emre, but I can't see, Chris Wilder, leaving Sheffield United. But, he's managed various clubs, obviously before he's emulated himself up, but obviously before he was at Sheffield United, he managed, I think, Oxford, was it? Oxford, he managed Northampton for several years. He also managed Halifax, he managed Alfred Town, don't forget. But he's, and I think his philosophy, definitely suits Sheffield United. But I think they'll definitely stay up this season. I thought they probably would have gone straight back down. But this is their, this is their first season in the Premier League. This season, that is. But yeah, it's going to be a very, very difficult game and that. But it's obviously a game, that Man United do need to win. Obviously, as well, to keep our hopes up for that top four, because I did put into the equation that at the start of this season, our expectations this season will be to finish in that top four. So we can obviously, get into the Champions League and that, because obviously, we're not in Champions League football this season, and obviously that goes against us as well of getting the right caliber players into the football club, because obviously if you're not in Champions League football, then it's going to be hard to attract players to the elite level. We're 7th in the league, like I said. We're 9 points behind top four, so I actually fully disregarded that top four, but there's still a long way to go in the season, and there is still a lot of twists and turns to come. But if we can, replicate the performance against Sheffield United, what we did do against Brighton in that 3-1 win and the Partizan Belgrade game, I think we can get a comfortable win against Sheffield United. I know our away form for the vast majority of this season has been very, very poor, and in the last couple of months of last season it was very, very poor. But recently, we started to win games away from home, which is obviously good. But it is going to be a tough game. But I did say I think our only route to Champions League football anywhere for next season is progressing in the Europa League this season. And the positive is like, we are into the knockout stages of the Europa League. We're still 2 games remaining. I think it could be us or Arsenal, that could actually win the Europa League. I still think we could win some silverware this season, even though we've, endured our worst start to a Premier League season for just over 30 years. Like I mentioned, last time we had as bad a start to a season as this was, I think it was back under the Ron Atkinson era, so that was obviously, before the Alex Ferguson era, But I think anywhere our aspirations will be that top four in the next couple of seasons, definitely, because obviously I think, for us to be back to being a competitive elite level football club, and for us to be future title contenders, like I said, we've got to get the right caliber players into Manchester United that can obviously do that. But yeah, I don't think we're going to win the league for at least the next couple of years. But I did expect us not to win the league anyway. I said this at the start of this season, despite the 3 signings that were recommended to the football club during the course of the summer. I didn't expect us to win the league, but I did expect us, at least to be challenging for that top 4. And like I did say, reflecting on the amount of money that's being invested into this club, reflecting on the size and the potential of this club, we should be much more commanding a position, than winning now. But one thing I did say at the start of this season, I expected us to enjoy a better season this season than what we saw last season, and that. But to be fair, recently, we have, rejuvenated ourselves. Maybe due to our good run of form recently, some of the pressure, or the vast majority of the pressure, has eased off Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, because he has been under intense pressure. He was especially under intense pressure before the Liverpool game. So you could arguably say that the game against Liverpool and the game against Norwich, there were the games that you could arguably say saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial tenure at the football club anyway. But either way, we're gonna stick with Solskjaer for now anyway. I can definitely assure that Solskjaer, will be at the football club at the end of the season. That definitely, as you all know, Solskjaer has got a 3-year contract. Obviously, he got given this 3-year contract when he got the job permanently in March earlier on this year. I think that was one of the mistakes for Man United. Was obviously giving him the job. I can say we give him the job too early. I can almost assure that he won't see out his 3-year contract. He won't see out his 3-year contract and that. But I think 3 years is probably enough. 3 years is definitely enough, to fit, to turn Man United around. I think it's enough to address the deficiencies in the squad that period of time, but I just can't see him lasting out his 3-year contract. I said, even though we've been good recently, my perceptions still haven't changed regarding Solskjaer. Like I've said on numerous occasions that, if we can keep this good run of form up until January at least the next year, or until the end of the season, then maybe I'll have a different perception regarding Solskjaer. But till then, I still don't think he's a long-term future for Man United. Don't get me wrong, I think us getting rid of him at all, or especially now, wouldn't solve any problems at the football club. And obviously, we'd have to pay something in compensation anyway if the club did decide to sack him. We'd probably have to pay around £7 million. Well, I think it said 7 million before. We probably may have to pay more than that, but it will cost us, obviously, something in compensation. We wouldn't have to pay as much money, as we did do to get when we got rid of Jose Mourinho, because I think we'd give Jose Mourinho a pay off. I think we paid him off around 20 odd million pounds, to get him out of the football club. But Man United will stick with him for now, because I think the board are still willing to back him. Ed Woodward insists he's backing him, because Ed Woodward did assure recently that his job is safe. So Ed Woodward obviously has the same perception as Solskjaer. Obviously you got some of our players that have come out and they insist he's the right manager for Man United. You had obviously Rashford coming out recently. He says Solskjaer. He says Rashford that. Rashford said that Solskjaer is the right manager for Man United. Young also came out and said not too long ago he actually believes that Solskjaer's revived Ferguson's spirit at Man United. So still quite a few of the players are currently backing him. But like I said, I think we need at least 5 to 6 more signings, maybe even more. Obviously next year it's, very, very imperative that we do address, the deficiencies in the squad, because you can still see the problematic areas. We definitely nowhere need 2 midfielders. I think we need an attacking midfielder. We also need a CDM. And we also need at least one striker, but I think Solskjaer is orchestrating on bringing 2 attackers in. But I think, we definitely need to recruit a replacement for Herrera in that midfield. And in that attacking line, we need to recruit a replacement for Romelu Lukaku and Alexis Sanchez, because we do look very exposed in that attacking line, for the vast majority of this season anyway. Obviously, following their departures. Obviously, we're also in search for a right winner. So that's one of the areas Man United do need to strengthen up. Possibly other areas as well, we need to strengthen up and that. But according to recent reports, we're only going to get around £200 million. Well, Solskjaer's only going to get around £200 million to spend in January and next summer. The question is, though, is £200 million enough, for us to get the number of players we want? Is it enough for us to address all the deficiencies in the squad? Because £200 million these days, isn't really a lot. It isn't really a lot to get given to spend. Basically, it's just dependent on how we are with our recruitment, how we're going to overpay for players, or how we're going to orchestrate on being sensible with it. But I think with £200 million, minimum we can get is 2 players in. We can bring 2 additions in at least with 200 million. Looking at it during the summer, we got 3 players in for just under 150 million pounds. But maybe 200 million pounds isn't enough. Like mentioned. But yeah, so there's only 3 players at the moment anywhere that are Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, like I've said, and I've said this before. Analysing the vast majority of this team, it isn't Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's. Actually, the vast majority of this team is Jose Mourinho's, because obviously, Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players into the football club. Now, taking into account Solskjaer is still inheriting the vast majority of them. But I think he did say the other week, Solskjaer, that he has got element of concerns about the signings for January and, next summer. Obviously, due to our inconsistency for the vast majority of this season and that. But, Solskjaer did say, before that he's keen on continuing the policy of recruiting young players in. In that aspect, he does replicate Ferguson, because don't forget, back under the Ferguson era, he developed a lot of young players. And as it stands there now at the moment, we have got a lot of young players in our squad. A lot of young players are, coming through. And obviously, Solskjaer does want to recruit more young players into the squad and that. And I think, unless he considers, changing his transfer strategy. I do not know. But there's some aspects of me, that do credit Solskjaer anyway. He has got a lot of trustworthy in his young players and that. And the vast majority of the young upcoming players have been given their chances this season, which is obviously very, very good in that. I can I can definitely assure that Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, and Tuan Zebe, perhaps maybe even James Garner, they all will become successes at Manchester United. With Mason Greenwood, he's done really, really well in the games he's played in this season. To be quite fair, I expected him, to play more regularly, than he has done. So I think he hasn't played as many games as I thought, he should have done. He has not yet started a game from the start in the Premier League, so these question marks regarding that. But he started in the cup games as Mason Greenwood, and Mason Greenwood has scored 3 senior goals for the football club so far this season. And I think he's totally comparison to Rashford and the likes of Martial at the moment. I wouldn't say I'd say he's catching up with Marcus Rashford, but I won't put him on Martial's level as yet. But I think by the time he's 23, 24 anywhere, he will be a world-class centre forward, will Mason Greenwood. But I think anywhere as he develops more, he will overcome Rashford, and he will become better goal scorer than Marcus Rashford will Mason Greenwood. But yeah, he has done really, really well. But basically this season, Greenwood is replicating, what he did last season with the reserves. And he's only 18 years of age. With Brandon Williams, I thought he was fantastic on his full Premier League debut in a 3-1 win against Brighton before the international break. You can say now that left back has been confirmed, because I've got to be honest with you, I think Brandon Williams is a better solution than Luke Shaw, despite the fact that Luke Shaw is our first choice left back. And I also believe he's a much better solution than Ashley Young. Young's played at left back a few times this season, but he's actually now predominantly a right back. But Brandon Williams, I said he would more first team promotions if he could keep the consistency up. And he's only 19 years of age, but fair play to him. He's done really, really well. Tuan Zebe, in the games he's played in this season, I think he's also been absolutely fantastic in that. He's been absolutely fantastic, so I do credit him for that. But I have also got some element of concerns about some young upcoming players, and this is why I did say January or next summer. I think it would probably be January. We should get rid of some of them and that, because I think the likes of Sean and Angel Gomez are comparison to the likes of Mason Greenwood, Brandon Williams, Tuan Zebe and that. So I think we need to continue getting rid of them. I give you the news, didn't I, regarding Chong. I think it was it last week I gave you the news regarding Chong, or it might have been earlier this week. Reportedly, he's decided not to renew his contract at Man United. Chong decided not to renew his contract at Man United, and allegedly he said he's informed the club he will be leaving at the end of the season. So we could be losing him on a free transfer because his current contract comes to an end at the end of the season. But I've got some element of concerns about Chon. You've got to say his appearances have been limited at Man United anywhere. He hasn't played the games, the amount of games to the extent as we thought he would have done. Maybe he's infuriated with his, with the lack of playing time and that. His Chong, but I think he's going to be leaving the football club. His Chong anywhere. Angel Gomez recently was also out of injury. Don't forget. Miovac Andres Pereira. I think he's had some good games this season. I think he's also had some bad games and that. I don't think he's performed to the same level as McTominay this season or Fred recently. But he's had a good couple of games. He's been operating in that playmaker's role this season as Andres Pereira. But I would still give him more time at the football club. So we have got a lot of young players in the squad. We've got a lot of experienced players in the squad and that. So it's good that he's got a lot of trustworthy and his young upcoming players. I also credit Solskjaer because he did get rid of a lot of the deadwood during the course of the summer transfer window. Despite that, though, I still believe these more players that do need to leave the football club. So we need to orchestrate on getting rid of more players next year. For my own perception, I think we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players. If I'm going to be quite honest with you. And I've already gone through what players I think should be moved on. I think Young. He's now past his sell-by date at the football club. Young, he's obviously now 34. He's actually now 35 next year. He's actually young, so you can probably say anyway he's coming to an end. He's coming to an end of his footballing career, and that it was a bad mistake for Man United last season, giving him that new 1-year extension and that. But Young is now into his 9th season as Man United player, and he's obviously now been here 8 years, so he's been here since the Ferguson era. Again, these question marks regarding Solskjaer or not. Why is he been playing Young on a regular basis this season? Phil Jones, like I've said to you, another one of the problematic players. We obviously wouldn't generate much for him, if we did get rid of him, obviously, next year, because obviously he's very inconsistent now. But we would obviously still get some from him. I don't know if we'd be able to recruit the money that we paid for him from Blackburn back in, 2011, or was it 2012? Jones has been here more or less the same amount of time as Ashley Young. Jones is now into his 9th season at the club. He's obviously enjoyed 8 years at Man United again. But we shouldn't have given him that new long-term contract last season. Definitely Nemanja Matic is one of the problematic players. And like I've said before, despite the fact, we haven't addressed that midfield, I do definitely believe that Nemanja Matic, I do believe any of our midfield options are better options than Nemanja Matic, basically, because I've got a lot of reservations about Nemanja Matic. He's too slow. He makes that midfield look totally imbalanced, and he's aging up. He's 31. He isn't getting any younger. Matic is now into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player. He's now into his 3rd season as a Manchester United player, and been analysing it. The vast majority of his tenure he has been very, very inconsistent in that. But at the time we got him from Chelsea back in 2017 anyway, Matic, wasn't our first choice. He was actually our 3rd choice signing, back then. But we need to get rid of him, and that his current contract comes to an end at the end of the season. But we do have an option to extend it by a further year. But I'm very sceptical, obviously, though, that Man United are going to extend his contract and that. Jesse Lingard, now, some people have pinpointed out, maybe that we should get rid of him, Jesse Lingard. I wouldn't go as far as getting rid of him, because even though he has enjoyed a difficult time this season, I still believe he is a long-term solution for Man United. And I have got element of concerns about Jesse Lingard of what I've seen this season and that, but I would still consider keeping him. But reflect on his status at the football club, definitely he should be performing to the standards as we should expect from him. And recently his performances have been totally comparison to Rashford and Martial and Daniel James in that attacking line, so they've basically now put him to shame. But yeah, there's definitely no more players that do need to leave the football club, and I think we need to see a variety of changes at the club. Even though we've done well recently, I said we need to get rid of our current board, because our board has been a liability for several years, and that with the poor recruitment and the poor selection of managers. And I don't think the board will ever become reliable, because they've been that much of a liability for several years. And this board needs to assure structural changes at the football club. I also believe that Ed Woodward replicates the board, and I think also Ed Woodward does need to go, because he's quite clearly not reliable enough, to oversee our transfer business. And he also, and I said, more players need to go. Obviously, Solskjaer is accountable for some of our bad results and performances this season, so obviously some of the blame does stem from him. And like I said, for the vast majority of this season anyway, overall he has been tactically naive. A lot of Man United fans also did put that into the equation, but My element of concerns I've got about Solskjaer is that, he hasn't really got that experience as a manager, not really to the highest level, as you all know. He hasn't really got it. But that still doesn't mean, he won't succeed at Manchester United. But Solskjaer has been here around, like I said, he's been here 11 months. He's obviously he lasted longer than David Moyes and that, because David Moyes only lasted 10 months at the football club. But, Solskjaer's been permanent manager for 8 months. Obviously, for the vast majority of that 8 months, we know it's all gone wrong. Totally comparison, to what I saw in that 3-month period when Solskjaer was the interim manager. But yeah, I still would give him at least a couple more transfer windows to see who else he can recommend in. I think, the couple of reasons why, we decided to recommend Solskjaer in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho in December of last year is because obviously, Solskjaer was a cheap solution. We didn't pay a substantial amount, to get him in from Mould. Also we know that he knows the traditions of the football club. But, Solskjaer as a manager, his comparisons as he was as a player, because as a player he was fantastic. He's got that proven pedigree as a player. He had 11 great years with Man United. Obviously, he flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance. And he did really, really well. And obviously, you can say Ferguson transformed him into a winner and that. So, but, he could still succeed at Man United, and I hope he can, bring that winning mentality back to the club, and he can bring that fear factor back to the football club, because none of them have been there, since the Alex Ferguson era, and hopefully as well we can, make Old Trafford a fortress again, because Old Trafford, was a fortress back under the Ferguson era. It hasn't been a fortress, for at least last 6 or 7 years. So I am also, very, very hopeful about that. I am also, very, very hopeful about that. As you all know, a lot of Man United fans are demanding. A lot of Man United fans are demanding Mauricio Pochettino, in to replace Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now, and maybe there has been a change of scenario now, with the sacking of Pochettino from Tottenham. As I've updated you regularly recently, as you all know, Pochettino was sacked from Tottenham on Tuesday night, I think it was. He was sacked from Tottenham. Obviously they put out a statement, revealed the reason why they'd sacked him, and obviously hoped him best for the future and that. But it's probably because Tottenham have. I don't think he was a bad manager. I just think it's because Tottenham have enjoyed a really bad start to this season. They are sitting 14th firm in the Premier League, at Tottenham. They are sitting 14th firm in the Premier League, at Tottenham. Obviously, I thought it was just a matter of time anyway before, Pochettino was sacked and that. But I thought he did enjoy a good 5 years there with Tottenham, Pochettino. And I think a lot of Man United fans, believe he would be the right candidate for the football club, and his philosophy, would be right for the football club. So that means he'd be able to, bring the right caliber players in. Don't forget Pochettino. He's also good at developing young players, and I think he's totally comparison to Solskjaer. Obviously, Solskjaer's won more than him as a manager, because Solskjaer won a couple of Norwegian titles and Mould, and Pochettino hasn't won out in terms of as a manager, and that's my only element of concern I have got about us, recommending him in. But he did well with Tottenham. Like I said, he got them to their first ever Champions League final last season. He got them to League Cup final his first full season. He got them to a couple of third place finishes and that. So he did quite well. I think he won over 100 odd games at Tottenham. Put that into the equation. Before he was at Tottenham, though, he had a great short tenure with Southampton and that. But don't forget, Pochettino was our primary candidate, before we recommended Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in and that. So if Solskjaer is to be sacked, then I think it's very, very imminent. Well, not imminent, but, likely that Pochettino will be our next manager. Maybe he won't, because Bayern Munich, I think, are in for him. So he could actually, take the Bayern Munich job, because I think Bayern Munich have also, been interested in that. But yeah, I will be doing a video tomorrow regarding Jose Mourinho to give my own perceptions on, do I think he will succeed with Tottenham and that. Like I've said, he's obviously, being appointed. He got appointed yesterday, I think, as Tottenham's new manager. Obviously, to replace Mauricio Pochettino. Jose Mourinho's now back in the Premier League. He'll be delighted about that. Jose Mourinho's obviously signed a contract with Tottenham until the end of the 2022-23 season. He's obviously going to be earning around 15 million a year, and that's just over double, or it's almost double than what Mauricio Pochettino earned, because I think Pochettino earned around 8.5 million a year. But maybe Jose Mourinho's philosophy is right for Tottenham and that, and maybe he will be able to to elevate them forward, basically. Mauricio Pochettino's totally comparison, Jose Mourinho's totally comparison to Mauricio Pochettino. Jose Mourinho's got a good pedigree. He's won 25 major honours so far during his managerial career. So he's a very, very good manager in that. Yeah, and And that's mainly everything to update you with, guys. So that's your Sheffield United versus Manchester United preview for Sunday. 4:30 kickoff. It's actually, I think, the only game on Sunday. And then after that, I think, we playing the Europa League and then obviously we've got games coming up thick and fast in December and that. Don't forget City and Tottenham are coming up in December. So, we have got, pivotal games coming up. And, so hopefully we can get a win against Sheffield United. But Solskjaer's press conference will be tomorrow. I will be watching it and that. And then, I will be straight back on this channel as always. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes, below on the channel. If you do consider subscribe as always. And take care, God bless. And I'll see you all again very, very soon. Thanks for watching.